Hello YouTube, I hope that you're having a fabulous evening. I hope everybody's doing good. Tomorrow is Wednesday, that fast. We are in the almost the middle of February, that quick. This Friday is Valentine's Day. I don't have a boo thing, but I love Valentine's Day. I think I've always loved it because like my mom, she always gave me a present, always, for Valentine's Day. Like, she would always give me a card. She would always tell me that she loved me. And we had our ups and downs, but I think that's what really made me love Valentine's Day, to be appreciated and stuff. And I just always loved the holiday. And even though, like, there's been plenty of times when I didn't have a Valentine, I still love the holiday. Like, Jodeci is performing at King's Theater. Just to let y'all know, Jodeci. I've seen Jodeci twice before, and it was by accident. Like, the first time I seen it was, I think it's Casey, the skinny one. He took off his shirt at Barclays, and like, nobody wanted to see that. And like, it was with other people, so it was like other people performing and they happened to be there. And then New Edition came to New York like 2 years ago, or was it might have been 3. It came to MSG, and Jodeci did the introductory performance, and it was okay. And I was like, for me to see them a third time, somebody else got to pay for it. Like, and that's one positive thing I can say about people that I've dated. Like, we had fun. Like, whether if it was my ex or the ex before him, like, going out on Valentine's Day or the weekend or my birthday, that wasn't an issue or a problem. It was, and I feel like that's very important when you're dating. Which brings me to the movie that I saw tonight. As y'all know, I'm doing my series for Black History Month, and I'm gonna do my people this weekend, because recording and reading and researching, it's actually work, y'all. So it's like, you're not gonna see me vlog every day about them, because getting my words together, and it's easy for me to talk about movies because I remember the movie, I just seen it, right? But researching and actually talking about somebody you research, that's work. So yes, you will hear about Maya Angelou, Ella Fitzgerald. There's so many people that they don't get the praise, the underrated people. Those are the people that I'm doing. Now, Maya Angelou, y'all know about her, but I love her. She's my favorite, so I just gotta do her, talk about her. And yeah, but tonight I wanted to talk about Disapearing acts. Now, it is with Sanaa and Lathan. Regina King plays her friend. If y'all saw Family Reunion, Tyler Perry, the one that plays the, I guess you could say, the older sister that marries the bus driver, she's in it. And Wesley Snipes plays the trifling man in all of this. And I had to talk about this movie because it's just so common. So I was like, I need to see where people's headspace are. Like, I'm just curious to know. You can comment, like, and subscribe as always. I love my fans. I love my subscribers. I love y'all. 782. Let's get it to 1,000. Tell your friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to my channel. So, Disappearing acts. Now, I feel like that's the wrong title, because he didn't really disappear on her. It's just like he would just be late at certain times for no reason. So I feel like the title was a little off, but basically it's about a single woman who has a career as a teacher, and she's alone. She has no children. She has nobody but herself. She moves to the Brooklyn area, looks like, and the moving man hollers at her, right? So Wesley Snipes, tall, dark, and handsome, whatever, and they start having sex. I can't call it dating because this reminds me of Love Jones. I don't like Love Jones. And Love Jones, they don't go out on any dates. They just have sex, and they have like game night, if y'all seen Love Jones. And she meets his friends. And then in the movie Disappearing Acts, once again, they don't go out on any dates. The only thing that you see them doing is having sex. And then like she meets his children. He has a 10 and 11-year-old. At first he doesn't tell her, and then he tells her like 20 minutes into the movie, so he tells her pretty early on in the relationship that he has children and that he is married. So the positive thing about the scenario is he really was separated from his wife. He was not messing with her or any of that. So in that regard, I feel like as a woman, you just gotta listen to your instincts. If something is telling you that, because to be honest, you could be divorced and still be messing with the person. So a lot of people put emphasis on, oh, he's married. Yeah, that's a horrible thing. It is. But what's more important is the relationship he has with that woman. Because they could be divorced and still, like Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley. When they got divorced, they were still messing around. Yeah, girl. They were still messing around, right? And that's just an example of, before he died, two divorced people, they were messing around. So them being divorced meant nothing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, separated, he married, whatever. You just got to go by the relationship. Now, bringing a baby into that equation might be a little messy, because realistically, when holidays come around, who is he going to spend time with? And that's something you got to take, as a woman, you have to take accountability for. Like, when this child is going to eventually start talking and walking, and when holidays come up, children want to be with their dad for the holidays. I'm happy that, with my son, his father and I are not together, but it's not like I wasn't no side chick. He wasn't married. It wasn't none of that. It was, we did what we did, whatever, and my son is always welcome in his father's home, and his grandparents' home, but he's always welcome. It's never, and I just feel like when you have a baby with someone who already has a family, you have to consider that your child is not going to come first. And that's just what it is. It's just what it is. Like, especially if the grandparents, they already have grandchildren, and now you decide to have this baby, and you might be innocent in the situation, but you have to understand that child may or may not get equal time than the firstborn child. Like, my son is the firstborn grandchild of her son, so he gets all the attention and the praise, right? But if you're a baby mama 2, 3, and 4, just understand you're not going to get that same attention, and that's just what it do. So she has a baby with him. That's another thing. Like, if you get involved with a married man, ladies, you have to use protection. Like, I don't know how much I gotta stress that. I wish I could be a spokesperson for condoms, because condoms work. And let me tell you another thing that works too. Pull out. Okay? I took a picture at the doctor's office, and you know what they say about pull out? Pull out is 80% good. Okay? So sometimes it be like that. You just in the mood, and it's just, with men, I feel like, I don't have a penis, but I feel like with men, when they get used to not wearing a condom, it doesn't matter who you are, they're just not going to wear one. So certain men, they're just not going to wear one. But there needs to be a communication to say, hey, I don't want to have children with you, and can you please pull out? And it sounds silly, but that could, like, save you so much drama in your life if you just do that simple thing. So some people say, oh, you could get pregnant from pre-cum. I don't know anybody that's gotten pregnant from pre-cum. I really don't. So like, you just have to use some type of birth control, because to have a baby by a man that's like already has children, I don't think that's a good idea. You know, and I might sound old school, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So she was just, that movie was just so sad, because it was like, this is a teacher. This is not some young girl that's just, she don't know what she doing with her life and trying to find love. Like, this is a full-grown 30-something-year-old woman, and I'm guessing her age, because for him to have a 10 and 11-year-old kid, he gotta be at least 30. If you have a 10-year-old, you gotta be at least 30, right? Gotta be at least, I mean, some people have kids really young, but just typically, you gotta be 30 or more, right? And in the movie, they kind of look like they in their 30s, right? And she's a teacher, she's established in her career. This is not her first apartment, right? So we're assuming that she's late 20s, maybe early 30s. These are grown ass people, right? Just keep that in mind. They are not in college, none of that. So then he tells her he doesn't have his GED. Now, once upon a time, I felt like, yeah, I'm not going to date no man with no GED. And for the most part, most men I've dated was educated, and you know, they had their stuff together. But I feel like, if you, first of all, let's just think about all the people who own a corner store, laundromat, and barbershop. Most of those people don't have no high school diploma, and they making very good money. And let's be honest, most people who have businesses, they don't have a college degree. Steve Jobs, college dropout. Facebook, let's say Facebook user. Facebook creator, college dropout. He went to my college and dropped out, Mercy College. His name is Zach, right? A lot of these people, now to work for these people, you need a degree. That's the funny thing. But none of them had a degree, and they became successful. So I'm not gonna, I mean, it's nice to have a high school diploma, but if a man is successful at what he does and he don't have a diploma, I don't think I would care. Because the reality is, I have a bachelor's, and so do a lot of people. And it's like, what did I go to school for? Like, and when you really think about the concept of going to school to work for somebody else, it's a ridiculous concept. It really is. It really is. And like I said, most people who own a business, especially people from other countries, they don't got no diploma. Them people don't have no diploma. Half of them can't even speak English. And they making a lot of money. Like the laundromat, I never thought about it until recently. But if you have 100 people come in your laundromat in one day, and everybody's spending at least $10 on laundry, life is good. And the laundromat is always open 7 days a week. So yeah, you got a successful business, I ain't mad at you. It would be nice if you have a GED, but you know, so I was really thinking about that. But the issue with him was he didn't have consistent work. So, and it was a little educational, because I always thought construction workers was paid, but evidently he wasn't. And then so he finally joins the union, which I thought everybody was a part of the union, but evidently no, according to this movie. And so he joins the union, and he gets fired. So I'm like, how do you get fired if you're a part of the union? Isn't that the point of being a part of the union? So he gets fired, and then he becomes extremely, I guess, depressed, because he doesn't pick up the baby from daycare. She comes home to a house full of dishes, a sink full of dishes. And then he has the nerve to say, oh, the baby needs to be changed. Oh, I forgot to pick up the baby. Then she was like, well, why didn't you look for a job today? like the baby was in daycare. And that's another thing. There's no, like, watching this movie just was like, why? And thank God she got rid of him. Thank God she got rid of him. Because it's like, what are you good for? And all you see them doing throughout the movie is having sex. And I wanted to address that because a lot of people are not in love. They're insane. And then it's like, they're insane because the man is married. The man is not working. He's telling you, showing you all of this, and you know, thank God she finally woke up and got rid of him, because it's like, you're not even like cooking and cleaning, because bare minimum, she's at work all day. He should have dinner ready and everything cleaned. He should have picked up the baby and made life easier for her. There is no reason why somebody should come home to a sink full of dishes. That's just absurd to me. And you have even some women that's housewives and they don't work, and they expect the man to come home and clean. What are you doing all day? Nothing. And half of the time, some women don't even, like, they're not even paying attention to the kid if the kid is home with them. But it's like, if the kid is in school or daycare, you could wash a dish, you could do something, you know. So it's like, he didn't wash no dishes, nothing was cooked. He forgot to pick up the baby. Like, how do you forget to pick up somebody? I understand if you fall asleep, because that happened to me like one time. I was working overnight and I forgot to pick up. I didn't forget, but I fell asleep, and the after school people had called me, and I was like, oh snap, like, you know. And that happened one time, and I was so embarrassed that I made sure, like, you know, I set an alarm. If I feel myself falling asleep, I was like, oh nah, you know. But it was just crazy because he's straight, like, he was unproductive and he forgot. So it was like, she was like, oh, I'll be there in 2 hours, because she was at work. He was supposed to pick up the baby, so she had to end up picking up the baby 2 hours later because she was at work. So she gets home and he's on the couch, and she's like, did you look for a job today? He's like, no, it was too cold. It was too cold? Like, what? Like, how do you even, you know, like, who says that? I was so upset for her. Like, too cold, like, what? So, and then she finally put her foot down, like, I can't do this. Like, so a year passes and they show what he's doing with his life. Like, he eventually got his GED and he was gonna take the test, I guess, to be full-time or whatever he said he had to do. And she was proud of him, you know. It doesn't show them getting back together, but it shows, like, kind of cordial, I guess, or being friends. Or I guess they was trying to be cordial, because for a whole year he didn't call, he didn't show up. So one day he just pops up at her door and she's like, where have you been? Like, she was like, if I wasn't getting checks, I would have thought you was dead, you know. So they didn't show the part of her taking him for child support, but I guess that's what she meant by checks, because I'm like, what she meant by checks? Or did he just automatically send it? But he became a deadbeat, and it was sad because that's not what she wanted for herself. You got some chicks that they just, that's what they want for themselves. Like, they wasn't raised right, they just, you know, they don't want the father in their life, you know, whatever ignorance seep in. But she definitely did not, like, want that for herself. And I think that's what made the movie so sad, because she really believed in him. Like, he was selling a story, and that's what it was. It's not like when they met he was a bum. Like, no, he helped her move in. Like, he was working. So he was working, and then he quit. And so she had faith in him to say, forget him and do what you gotta do. He's like, he was gonna start a business. And it sounded, and you watching this movie and it's like, oh, okay, he's coming along. Then she gets pregnant and he's happy. So it's like, oh, okay, he do love her. Like, you see, and like, oh, okay, this is why she fell for him, because he do show some type of love for her. Like, you know. And then she's talking to her friends, and the friend that's single is like, no, girl, don't do it. Then the married friend, she's like, well, you need to tell him that you're pregnant. I don't know what I would tell my friend in that situation. I feel like what I would tell her is be realistic in your situation. Just know that this is not his first child, and you're not going to get that first child treatment. Like, I would tell her, like, brace yourself. Like, the family may or may not accept you, because at the end of the day, you're his. Now, she met his parents, but a lot of people are fake. So it's like, you know, you're not his wife and you're having this baby. So, and this is not his first child. This will be his third child. So you have to understand, like, he gonna get third child privilege. Like, you know, like he a stepkid. And that's just, it's a shame that it's like that. But let's be honest, that's the way it is. Like, you know, that's just the way. Like, if that was my friend, that's what I would tell her. Like, your child is not gonna get first kid privilege. They're not. Like, this is not their first grandchild. This is not the firstborn son. He already got two. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna get that first child's mother treatment. Your kid is not gonna get that treatment. When holidays come around, you know, your child just may be with you and y'all looking at each other like, what the fuck? You know, you gotta brace yourself for that, I feel like. And there's people I know like that, you know. They chose to have a kid and their kid is stuck with them for the holidays. Not saying that that's a bad thing if you enjoy that, but you as a single mother or any mom, you would want that option for your child to be with their father for the holidays, if that's what the child wants. And it's sad that a lot of children can't get toys, can't get gifts, can't get money from grandma because a certain woman decided to be selfish. A certain woman didn't think, you know, like, my child is not, you know, and a lot of people don't think, they just do. So I would definitely, if I was a friend, I would say it's not about being negative, it's I'm being real with you. Like, you gotta be prepared to do it alone, because again, you're not the first, like, this is not his first kid. So be prepared to, like, not get no help. Be prepared to, thank God I can't, you know, I always had the help, but I've seen women that put themselves in that position, even to men that's not married, and they get little to no help because the family dynamic, like, you know. And sometimes married women, they get little to no help. That's another story for another day. But this movie, Disappearing Acts, and then the book came out in 1989. I don't think I want to read the book because the movie was depressing enough. And I'm mad. Like, like, and in the comment section, somebody was like, oh, this is what so many women go through. It's like, no, this is what desperate women go through, because it's being desperate. And women who end up in situations like that don't take accountability, because at the end of the day, he was man enough to tell her, I'm married. He didn't have to say that. He could have just left her in the dark. He was man enough to tell her, yo, I got fired. He was man enough to tell her his situation, and she chose to stay. And then you're not using protection. He's not pulling out. And then it's like, at your big age, you got caught up and you had this baby. Now you're alone raising him, and, you know, It's sad. It's such a sad movie because it's so common, but it's a perfect example of lust. Like what lust and loneliness does to a person. She was fine by herself. She was perfectly fine by herself. And then she meets this guy. And then the saddest part about the movie is he never filed for divorce. He never filed for divorce. And then in the movie, he's not trying to get back with his wife or nothing. But it's kind of obvious that he wasn't trying to get divorced, you know. And I was like, I have to do this video because to warn my sisters, like, things happen and you might end up with a married man. And a lot of people get married by mistake. They don't even like the person that they married. But you have to proceed with caution. You can't, like, take a married man serious, right? Or a man who has children serious. You can't. I think you need to go into those situations and have fun. Like, you can't sit there and say, well, I'm gonna make a life with this person, or, you know what I mean? And it's like, I could speak on it because I've been there. Like, not the baby part, but you know, but there's no way, like I told you about the OG, there was never a point when I took him serious. There was never a point when I was like, oh yeah, like, no. Like, how does that look? That, first of all, even if he does file for divorce and marry you, how does that look? How does that look? That, because it's like, where did you come from, right? Right? Even if y'all got together when they was broken up, it still doesn't look right in the eyes of family and in the eyes of friends. It doesn't look good. And then to the children, they might accept you, but it still is, it's just messy. It's just, I say don't do it. Like, and it's funny because this movie came out 25 years ago, and these are issues that we as women go through today, you know. So that's what I love about the movie so much. I feel like most women can relate to it some way, somehow. For me, I can't relate to the job part. I just can't get with somebody who's like don't got steady work. But the married man part, or the man with children part, a lot of women, we do date men with children. But I could never take a man like that serious, because at the end of the day, it's like, he's having fun with you. And you have to be able to know that within yourself, you know. And I'm glad that they did this movie to show the realities of life. Like, you know, he said he was going to get divorced, but he's not going to get divorced. Socioeconomics do play a big role in that. If the man is like, I don't want to say poor, but if he like doesn't, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of black people are not going to get divorced unless if they're at a certain socioeconomic status. If they were brought up religious, it might be embarrassing for them to get a divorce. It's just a lot of factors. Like, you got black people who do get divorced, and then there's a lot of black people who don't get divorced for various reasons. But to say you're gonna have a life with somebody who's legally married, first of all, and I wanted to share this really quickly, I did volunteer at Maimonides Hospital, and I think I shared this in a previous video, but I'm gonna share it again. So there was a police officer. He had to be in his 50s, just looking at him, looked like he was about to retire, and he had a girlfriend of 18 years. I remember the 18 years because I'm like, who stays a girlfriend for 18 years? And I actually felt very sorry for her. And I was shadowing a patient representative. So patient representative is what they have in some hospitals, where the person communicates with the family and let them know that whoever passed away. Their job is to pretty much relay a message, to talk to the family, write whatever down, and just to be a mediator between the doctor and the nurse and whatever in between. So the wife wasn't picking up the phone, allegedly or apparently, and the girlfriend was just so upset. She was like, I don't understand. I'm right by his side. What she said, they've been together for 18 years. And I didn't say anything because I knew it wasn't my place. But I'm like, how do you allow a man to keep you and I get it. It's not about titles. But at the end of the day, the wife has the last say so. And I had to say this in a video. This is what men don't realize. When you marry a woman, you are not just giving her your name. You're giving her your life. Because legally, the girlfriend of 18, and this is what the patient representative told her, and she started crying. And I felt so sorry for her. And the patient representative is like, ma'am, you cannot make it this, like, he needed like surgery or something like that. He was dying. And they were like, well, your wife needs to pick up the phone. He's like, yo, we've been separated forever. This is my girlfriend of 18 years. She's like, yeah, we live together. The patient representative was like, you cannot make decisions on this man's life. I'm gonna need his wife to come to the phone. He's like, well, she's not coming to the phone. So he was like, the next of kin is his adult children. They weren't coming to the phone. Or I think one of them came to the phone but couldn't talk for long. Or it's just, the girlfriend was just saying it over and over. We've been living together. She's like, listen, I got ID, I have mail, I live with this man. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He's like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you cannot make decisions over his surgery or over his life. The person who signs or whatever is the wife. So obviously people are human, and the wife is not going to answer the phone because they're not together, right? But I said all of that to say this. It couldn't be me. Like, that would bother me, because it's like, in my opinion, first of all, this man worked for the police department. He was a cop. He said he was a cop. So he had the money for divorce. Disappearing Acts, the movie, he said his thing was he couldn't afford a divorce. This man was a cop. He could afford it. All right? He had 20 plus years in the force. He could afford it. Okay? So you never filed for divorce. Why? You just didn't think it was necessary. You knew you had health complications. You should have known that if you pass away, guess what? Your wife is the one in charge of that. And I feel like men who don't file for divorce, I feel like they low-key don't want to get one because, one, they feel like the girlfriend is irresponsible, or two, they still love their wives. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's like, why would you want to be legally tied to someone? Why would you want to be legally tied to someone who you say, and men will go in and say all kind of tomfoolery about their wives and this and that. In the movie Disappearing Acts, he don't talk about her. He doesn't say anything. But most men, they'll go in and say how horrible of a person this person is and this and that. So why are you married to her? File for divorce. File for divorce. You should want to do that. Or file for separation, something. Like, so I can't stress that enough. But, yes, it's more than a title, because obviously you do have married people that don't have a relationship. But when it comes to legalities and health and stuff like that, the wife is the one that's in charge. They have a long list of people that they call. So if you're not married, then they go to your next of kin, which is your children. You don't have any children, they go to your siblings. And at the very end of that list says friend or other. And you know what you fall into when you're the girlfriend? Other. And when I saw that list, I felt bad for the lady. I really did. Because in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of the hospital, you are other. And the patient representative said it to her face. He said, in the list of command, we will call his friends first before you. Or whatever. Like, in that instance, because she's at his bedside, yeah. But just in general, it was a list that I saw, guys. And even though this was 2013 and I was doing this volunteer thing through Kingsborough, through a community health program that I was doing. I got my certificate, whatever, through them. And it was just a good learning experience because it was like, wow. No matter what, wife weighs heavy. It does. Because there was a long list of people that they allow a person to, during that time. And friend was at the very bottom of that list. Very bottom / other. So when it boils down to it, and your man is on that death table or hospital bed, you are other. I think I need people to marinate on that. When you're dating a married man, right? I don't care if you've been together 18 years, right? When it comes down to his life, you are other. You're not the girlfriend. They don't even have significant other on that list. Wife is at the top. Wife is at the very top of that list, right? If they can't get into contact with the wife, then it's the next of kin, the siblings. You don't have any siblings, they're going to call your mama. But it's literally a long list that they had on that paper. And I'll never forget that wife was number 1 on that list. Wife. Not the kids, not anybody. Wife. Not baby mama, none of that. Wife was at the top of that list. And girlfriend wasn't even on the list. It's friend / other. You are other. So let that marinate. I just had to talk about that experience. I don't know if I talked about it in a previous video, but the movie Disappearing Acts was Sanaa, Lathan, and Wesley Snipes. You have to see it. Like, it's just one of those movies that's like, what? It's relatable, but it's sad. It really is. And it just is a perfect example of a lonely woman. And I wanted to talk about that too. There's a difference between being alone and lonely. When you're alone, it's okay to be alone. But when you're lonely, you'll settle for anything. You'll settle for an unemployed married man. She was lonely. That's lonely. Because you'll settle for that. You'll settle for a man that gets upset at you on your birthday while you're pregnant. And that was just a sad scene to see too. He was late for dinner. They had a reservation. They didn't go to dinner. They take a cab to the Beacon Theater. And when they get there, they end up turning around because he tells her, fuck you, on her birthday. And throughout the movie, he doesn't take her to dinner. He doesn't take her to dates. There's no romance in the entire movie. And I think that was the saddest part, because I'm like, if you don't have anything else, at least have that. The romance, the times the memories, the going out. That to me is so important. We all have booty calls, but we're not going to sit there and make a life with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even when you go out on dates with people, it was just something that was just like, it can happen to anybody. This is a woman who has a master's degree. This is a woman who's a teacher. And it happened to her. And it's such a good movie because it's like she went from strong black woman that was single, didn't need a man, to it's like when you watch the movie and the progression, it's like, how did that happen to her? How did that happen? How? And the scary part is it can happen to anybody. And those are my thoughts.